All right, so you're texting a guy and you're wondering, how do you tell if he likes you by his text? How do you really know what he thinks about you? Well, it's hard to not read into whatever words he sends you after all, right? But somehow you got to figure out if this guy likes you or not. Do you keep working on this romance, or do you just let him go and try the next guy? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you about today. As a guy, I can tell you if he's really interested in you or if he's just wasting your time. Let's get started. Hey, this is Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. Today we're digging into how to interpret texts. Now ultimately this is it's really what it's all about, right? You want to be able to figure out what he's thinking about you and what he's feeling when he sends you stuff in text. In fact, it's one of the most common questions I get, not just from women, but actually from men too. Guys want to know if she's interested based on what she's sending him in text. Well, I've got some good news and some bad news. Now, the bad news is that this is not an exact science. Hey, you kind of knew that going in. The good news is that you can interpret a few things based on what he sends you and how he sends it to you. So let's get started on that. All right, so you finally exchanged numbers with that guy. You know, the cute guy you met, or the guy that at least had the courage to walk up and talk to you. You're giving him a chance. Good for you. Now, what it really comes down to is knowing whether or not he's interested or he's just being nice and friendly. That's the trick of this whole thing, because you don't want to be embarrassed by pursuing a guy who's not really into you. No one digs rejection. It's not fun, and it does nothing for your self-esteem. The trick of texting is that you have to do your interpreting without seeing his body language or hearing his tone of voice, which is a huge obstacle to overcome. First, let's cover a few of the texting myths that you're going to encounter. If you listen to other people's advice out there, you could make some serious mistakes. The first myth is, he likes you if he writes you long texts. Sorry, but I'm going to have to bust this one. It's not necessarily true. He might actually just be bored and you happen to be a ready listening ear. Or he feels particularly emotional about something and you happen to be the person he was texting at the moment. Now, the truth is that long texts are a good signal if you've known this guy for a little bit and he's still sending them. As you know, I always advise that men simply don't like to text all that much. We really don't. At least real men. These days, there's a lot of really, well, let's just say not so masculine men around, so you do the best you can. Myth number 2 is he texts you randomly. Now this one can be a good sign, but it's also too ambiguous. I mean, what's the definition of random anyways? What you're looking for is a pattern of him texting you occasionally throughout the day about random topics. What this shows is that he's trying to make conversation, he's trying to connect. But if he just texts you out of the blue every so often during the week, every other day, or irregularly, that's kind of hard to pin down to anything, and it actually could be a negative sign. He could be bored. He could just be trying to keep you on the hook to hook up with you. The best signals to interpret from a guy are the ones you receive regularly. Random texting isn't a very good signal. Myth number 3 is he texts you when he's drunk. That's a good sign? No, this is another one of those kind of random signals. When a guy is drunk, he can go in one of 2 directions. Number 1, his inhibitions are lowered and now he's trying to express his interest in you. Or his inhibitions are lowered and now he's trying to get in bed with you because he's horny. Now, if you're over the age of 22, chances are you know how to tell these apart, and you probably already received plenty of number 2, right? Drunk texting is not a signal. Okay, that's enough of the myths. Let's get into how to tell if he actually likes you by his text. But let me say one thing first off the bat. If you're watching signals too closely, if you're trying to interpret small, little teeny bitty signs, you might be too afraid of being rejected. Here's the thing. When it comes to dating and romance, you have to have a little bit of fearlessness. That's right. A guy can tell when you're trying to avoid being rejected, and that's not attractive. When you're more concerned with avoiding being hurt than you are trying to meet and get to know him, it gives off a certain vibe. It looks like you have low self-confidence. And that's something that a guy will do anything to avoid. So sometimes you end up creating the rejection you're trying to avoid, simply by trying to look for too many signals. And you avoid showing your interest, and then you just end up looking too scared. The best thing you can do to improve your success in dating is to let go of your fear. If a guy doesn't like you, so what? That's just him. That's his opinion, and no stranger's opinion of you should matter all that much. Cultivate your fearlessness when it comes to dating. It will improve your successes. Now, let's start with the generic signals first. These are the signals that are a little bit more hazy, so you'll need a few more of these to make a decision as to whether or not he's actually into you or not. First signal is, he tells you that he'd rather be with you than be texting you. Yeah, this one is really huge. When a guy tells you he'd rather be there with you in person, he's being really damn clear. Ultimately, this should be your goal anyways, is to get together with him in person. Unfortunately, in our fear-ridden culture, we've gotten a little too used to avoiding social contact. So if he expresses sentiments like, sure would be great if we were talking instead of texting, or maybe he says, wish you were here right now, or wish I was there right now, you can be pretty sure he's interested. Hey, are you wondering if the guy that you like might be falling for you? Or maybe you're wondering if he's already in love with you? Go take my quiz. Go find out. Go into this link you see here. datingfire.com/does he love me? datingfire.com/does he love me? It's just a few questions that will help you find out if he's really falling for you. Go check it out. The next signal is he's reading your future. Well, he's not telling you what's going to happen in the future, but he's telling you what he would be doing if he was there with you in the future. When he tells you about the things that you're going to be doing together, he's doing what they call future pacing. He's getting you to buy into the future with him, the future cool stuff that you'll be doing together. Now, if he does this, it's doing two things actually. The first is he's expressing his interest. The second is he's trying to gauge whether or not you're interested too. Interesting, huh? You might find yourself with a guy who's also trying to figure out if you're into him at the exact same time you're trying to figure out the same thing. The next signal is he gives you reasons. One of the most frustrating things a woman can experience is when a guy ghosts her, or he just doesn't respond in a timely fashion. When a guy likes you, he will want to manage your perception of him. What this means is he's going to explain his behavior to you. He'll let you know if he can't reply to you right away. He'll tell you why it took him so long to respond to your text. If he has to go run some errands, he'll let you know he's not going to be available. You see, a guy who's interested in you will just demonstrate politeness and courtesy. How about that, huh? As for the other guys, well, if they can't show you the same kind of courtesy and politeness, you're not interested. The next signal is emojis, but maybe not in the way you're thinking. This one's actually super obvious. If a guy is using a lot of flirty, goofy emojis with you, that means he likes you. Guys typically don't use a lot of emojis. We prefer straight up texting, but when we are texting a girl that we're interested in, we will get a little bit more playful and childlike to go along with you. Now, as long as he doesn't go crazy with those damn things, that would just be a little bit weird actually, so watch out for that. The next signal is questions, questions, questions. As a general rule of thumb, if somebody is asking questions, that means they're interested. It's one of the obvious signs. They are trying to get to know you. They're trying to understand what makes you tick. Curiosity is on the same path as love, as I like to say anyway. When he's curious about you, he's looking to understand you more. He wants to do a deep dive into your world. The deeper the questions, the deeper he wants to dive. These questions should also continue when he's with you, of course, but that may not be the case. When men get together with women, they sometimes stop talking about you, they get nervous, and they start talking about themselves, basically just to relieve themselves of their anxiety. Hey, before I show you some more of these tips, go on, admit it, you're loving this stuff, right? It's all this great advice. Well, go on and hit subscribe and turn on those notifications because you can get these videos every week and you'll know when they premiere. You like that? Premiere. That makes me sound fancy. The next sign is he tries to keep the thread going. When you get started on a texting exchange and something gets interrupted, there's this natural desire to pick it back up where you left off, right? If you have a fun and flirty text exchange going on, neither one of you is going to want to let the ball drop on that. So if you notice him coming back to the texting and continuing the same conversation, that's a good huge sign that he wants you. He wants to talk more with you and interact with you. Especially if this texting block that you're doing is charged and it feels a little naughty. If he wants to come back to that, that's pretty obvious. But even if it's not naughty, when a man tries to keep the conversation going, that's always a good sign. All right, here's a huge one. The next one is he compliments you. This is one of those interesting signs that women just seem to get confused about. When it comes to women, compliments are a double-edged sword. The woman that gives that compliment to you might be trying to point something out that is slightly negative in her own weird way. She may even be trying to kill you with kindness in a very nasty, bitchy sort of way. So that leaves you mistrusting compliments when you hear them. But when a guy compliments you, you can take it at face value. He means it if he says it. Don't second guess men's compliments. Don't let your self-esteem get in the way of his genuine appreciation for you. I've seen a lot of women make this mistake, by the way. A man compliments a woman and then she dismisses it because she doesn't want to appear vain or stuck up like she would do in her female social groups. You have to prepare yourself to overcome your knee-jerk reaction. If you refuse too many of a man's compliments, he's going to think you're not interested in him. It's almost like you're not accepting his gifts. Actually, that's exactly it. You're not accepting his gifts, and he will simply lose interest and move on because he thinks, well, you must not like him. That's why you're not accepting those gifts. And this signal, this one is really big, and hold on to your pants here. You make your own signal. That's the best signal. This is going to get a little bumpy, so hang on. I could have made this list with 78 different signals, and you could be interpreting every little thing he says or does till the end of time. In the end, we got to drop this high school BS. If you really want to know if this guy likes you, just ask him. Enough of this juvenile crap. You've got a life to get on with. If you want to get the romance you deserve, it's time to be forthright and put your big girl pants on. Guys don't have a lot of patience for BS. The more you show that you know this, the better you're going to do with them. And quite honestly, guys are not doing well with their masculinity these days, if you haven't noticed. There's a lot of pasty-faced chumps out there growing these lumberjack beards and trying to make you think that they're men. You got to weed these guys out quickly. Don't waste your time on soft, doughy, wimpy men. There's just too many of them out there. You got to get to the good ones. That means you got to have better skills. In the end, signals are not going to get you a man. Action is. The best way you can get him to want you, desire you, and chase you is to flip his obsession switch. A man's obsession switch, it lies just beneath the surface. When you meet a man and you know he's a catch, you don't want to lose him. The key is to making him stay with you and pursue you and make you feel like a feminine woman. The key to that is to flip that obsession switch so that he chases you. He adores you, not the other way around. And you know what? It's as simple as just knowing what to say to him. When you text him, you've got to know what to send. When you talk to him, you have to know what to say. If you're ready to stop playing games and start getting serious about winning the man you love, you need to know how to flip his obsession switch. And yes, get those big girl pants on. If you want to know more, go here. Go to datingfire.com/obsession. That's datingfire.com/obsession. Just watch that presentation. Watch all the way through and learn how this obsession switch works in a man's mind and in his heart. I guarantee you, this is going to be the most important thing you're going to learn in the year ahead. The number of available quality men is going down rapidly. If you don't know how to win the man you're with when he comes along, you could be fighting for the scraps later on, and those guys are not worth it. They're not quality guys. You deserve to have a man who's going to take care of you and make you feel loved. Don't you? That's what we're all here for. That's what you deserve to have. So stop settling for less. Go watch that now. Go on over to datingfire.com/obsession. Hey, if you're new here, do the big three. Number one, like and subscribe. Get this stuff every week, delivered right to your phone doorstep, I guess. Number two, turn on notifications. Click that bell icon so you get notified when I release the next video, coming soon. And oh yeah, if you're already subscribed, please do share these videos with other women. I give away all this great stuff. I need other women to find me. And number three, just comment below. Do you agree with these tips that I've given you? Is there a video that you want? Just leave me a comment below if you want a part 2 or maybe other videos you'd like to see. I read the comments and I try to respond to as many as I can each week. Oh, and don't forget, wait a few more seconds. I'm going to put a video right up here in the corner for you to click. Another one for you to watch. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. As always, live and love with passion.